Steve from Green Bay, Wisconsin. While online shopping for Christmas presents this year, I came across an action figure of Andre the Giant under a mask as billed as the Giant Machine. I didn't know he was ever under a mask. Why was Andre under a mask in 1986 pretending to be Japanese? Did people not realize that it was Andre? First of all, where are you Christmas shopping that you found a figure of Andre the Giant as Giant Machine? I must know this. But this was from an angle that, yes, people knew it was Andre. This was from an angle that WWE ran in the mid-'80s, where Bobby Heenan lobbied President Jack Tunney, back when authority figures were real authority figures, and they only showed up when they had to. He lobbied President Tunney to suspend Andre after he had no-showed. There was a tag team match against two of his Heenan family members. I think it might have been Bundy and Studd. And Andre no-showed. And so Tunney suspended him. And then a couple of months later, all of a sudden, out of the blue, this new team pops up called the Machines. You had Super Machine. Super Machine was played by Bill Eadie, who would go on to become Axe from Demolition. And you had Giant Machine, who was very clearly played by Andre the Giant. This is very much like the Mr. America angle that WWE did many years later with Hulk Hogan, or Dusty Rhodes as the Midnight Rider, where the fans are not stupid. You know, they know who it is. And the heels have to try to prove it. And typically they usually don't. They usually are not able to prove that it's the babyface. What's funny is that they had a whole bunch of different people playing different machines. They even had Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan played Hulk Machine for a time. I think Roddy Piper did some matches as Piper Machine. It was completely ridiculous, but it was funny as hell. And I think that's really what's missing from the show today, right? Fun. Where'd all the fun go? How come things seemed like they were more fun back then? But that's why I love Kurt Angle as the Conquistador so much a few months ago. I know some people shit all over it and thought it was stupid. I loved it because it reminded me of some of what got me into wrestling in the first place, right? It wasn't great. Let's be honest here. I'll speak for myself. I'm willing to bet that the same applies for most people listening to this right now. When you were younger, when you were a kid, and this would be a great question to put to all of you. What was it that got you into wrestling? What was it that made you a wrestling fan? What was it, if you were a WWF fan, that got you into WWF? It wasn't great wrestling that got me into WWF. It was the colorful characters. It was Hulkamania. It was the storylines. It was all of that stuff. Now I'm older now, so I have a lot less patience for crappy wrestling, but I'm still interested in all those things I was interested in back then. Colorful characters and charismatic personalities and good storytelling. That hasn't changed. So ask yourself that question. What got you into wrestling in the first place? You know, maybe when you got into wrestling, you weren't that young. You weren't like super young. You were old enough where if you were an NWA fan, you came to appreciate the in-ring action in the NWA because they were far less reliant, I think, just on colorful characters and comedy stuff and things like that WWF might have been. And so you probably have a lot of NWA fans who grew up hating WWF because they thought it was a clown show. They probably thought it was a total circus. And they loved the serious storylines and the matches and the war games and all that. Okay, so you may have people who fall into that category, but I'm willing to bet a lot of people who were young wrestling fans getting into WWF for the first time were not watching it because, oh, I can't wait to see Ted DiBiase and, Jake Roberts have a 4-star match. That wasn't what it was about. It was about things like this. Goofy things, true, but things like this. Anyway, Andre was really hurting around this time. That's part of why they did this, to give him some time off. His back was in really bad shape. Giant Machine really wasn't around a whole lot. They had a lot of other machines who did most of the matches. But Giant Machine would pop up from time to time while, Andre was on suspension. And when he was reinstated, Heenan pushed for it so that Andre could turn on Hulk Hogan, and that then led to their match at WrestleMania 3.